Hello and welcome back to Black Belt Gamers. This is Goofy here. I'm going to bring you a quick lance build setup that I just put together this morning. If you want to get away from using the Artian lance and you're not really into using the Zoshia lance, you'll also have access to these lances earlier too. The Zoshia lance, it's decent. It's got that budget blast on it, pretty decent. But I just don't like that it's missing out on some armor skill, or not armor skills, weapon skills, and it's also. I feel like the slotting should have been a little bit better on it, given the nature of the monster that you get the material and the weapon from. So, since we already have some weapons that have 331 for slots, I feel like that thing should have had 331 just to make it a little more like, hey, this weapon's good. But if they would have done it, I kind of see it probably would have been like, yeah, it's best in class for every weapon to use Zoshia. So I understand why they changed things. But anyway, so here's what we got. We got the Doiguma lance and we got the Doiguma lance. So for the Doiguma one, well, first we'll just go over the main core of the build. We use 2 pieces of gore to get the antivirus crit bonus, 25%. We got Numinous just to give us a little bit of survivability. They're also really good armor pieces on their own for agitator and things like that. So we have a little bit of life regen, keep us in the hunt pretty much indefinitely if you're not, getting hit obsessively. And then stick with the Arc Vulcan coil because it's got our weakness exploit and the 1 point of recovery speed on it. Just helps us out with the rest of our build. And for slotting, it's mostly just Challenger, Mighty for maximum might. We top off our antivirus, top off our recovery speed, and since we have 2 extra slots, you can put whatever you want here. I just threw in Adapt and Mire Walker just for environmental hazards. Don't have to worry about hot drinks, don't have to worry about cold drinks, don't have to worry about mud, water, or anything like that. But swap in whatever you want. Now the Doiguma lance, you can have whatever you want for the first decoration. I just wanted to maximize the element on it to boost the damage as high as you can. You can also throw crit element here if you want. You could throw razor sharp if you virtually never want to have to sharpen. But since the Doiguma lance already has guard 2 and offensive guard 1, anything with a sub skill of Iron Wall will give you guard 3. Then throw offensive guard in your secondary slot, and then for the last one, since you really only need 1 point of guard up to block unblockable attacks, that's why this is set up the way it is. And then while I was looking at lances, I also noticed that the Guardian Doiguma lance has access to white sharpness once you start throwing some handicraft in there. And it also comes innately with offensive guard 3. Excellent. And look at that raw, 575. That is ridiculous. Like a perfect rolled Artian weapon is maybe, what, 520 something? The new Udra lance is 520 something. This thing, now I have the bloated numbers on. I don't have the, I have the coefficient, but this is what I'm used to. I'm used to seeing the coefficient and everything else because I know motion values and I know all that stuff. So, essentially, you need 3 points of handicraft to get white sharpness, and a 4th point just gives you a little bit more comfort. If you don't want that 4th point, you can put razor sharp to something else. You could put it to Master's Touch if you want, but Master's Touch isn't quite as viable. I prefer the razor sharp handicraft, but you could do razor sharp something else if you want. But I feel like this is about the only way to set this lance up for it to be actually useful. But I do have quite a lot of decorations in here. But you could do razor sharp slugger, razor sharp iron wall, and since we don't have access to everything yet, I'm assuming that there will eventually be like razor sharp crit boost, razor sharp attack, razor sharp, all that stuff. So we don't have all the sub skills yet. But anyway, 4 points in handicraft gets it to white sharpness. We don't have any guard or guard up on this one, so you really have to be on your shield blade game. Now when we test these lances out on the training dummy, it will appear that the Ray Dow Lance deals more damage, but that's because the training dummy has 100% values on all hit zones. So we are seeing a weapon without any defense, mitigation, no hit zone values, no nothing.
Let's give it a try.
So essentially, they don't show the numbers in this game like they used to show in the old game, but if I look at like Chatacabra here, and I look at the hit zone chart, they just show it as values of 3, 4, 1s, and 2s, whereas in an old game, anything that was like 65, 70, or higher would be deemed a weak spot, I believe it was, and anything that was below 40 would be deemed a hard point, and then anything in that little variable in between would be a neutral point. So since we basically just have anything with 3s, 4s, 1s, and 2s, you don't really get to know just how resilient a part is. So if we say Chatacabra's head has a 4, let's just assume that this training dummy has everything at a 5, which means there's 0 defense on it at all. No defense whatsoever. So we proc our offensive guard, and we'll just do a couple of pokes here. Boom, 127, 123, 110. But once we get the antivirus procced, this weapon will have 100% affinity, even though it innately has 0. And the build total has 125, or not 125, 105 affinity. So there we go. So now we got 70 plus weakness exploit gets us to 100. And then we also have agitator on, so we have 100% crit. Now we can go over here. Boom, 101, 101, 134. Pretty solid. But that's got elemental boosted behind it. So now we can throw on the Doiguma Lance. And there is a little speedrunning trick that you'll want to do for, but yeah, look at that. It hits for essentially the same amount of damage. But when you talk the hit zones on monsters, this Lance will hit much harder because of how high its raw is. So we got up to 55 affinity plus weakness exploit. So if we're hitting wounds, this thing has 100% affinity on the Doiguma Lance too. So that's ridiculous how powerful this is. Alright, let's get the antivirus on. There we go. Yeah, 354. It's ridiculous, ridiculous damage. On that charge level 3. Let's try out the Ray Dow Lance for that. And then I'll show you the quick speedrunning tech for sharpening your Doiguma Lance, because the Ray Dow Lance you'll fight for pretty much the whole hunt, even without Razor Sharp. I went way too early on that. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 327. So now we're starting to see the raw scale. We got our offensive guard on. Yeah, 327. The Doiguma's hitting 354. So once you start landing your more powerful attacks, yeah, that Doiguma Lance is nuts. So, but here's how you can manage your sharpness. Since we barely have white sharpness, we will, while our weapon is drawn, we activate a whetstone, 1 swipe, dodge. Full sharpness, just like that. Boom. And it doesn't take long to activate that in the middle of a hunt. So you can be fighting. Bump, bump, bump. Monster goes off to roar, jump back, swipe, boom, back in the hunt. Just like that. You never run out of white sharpness. So, pretty handy. If you guys want to try out these builds, by all means, go right ahead. This is the crit focus one. I'll show you my other two other setups really quick. So, the regen tank one here, this uses 4 of the numinous. So we want, this is just full-on regen. You're reliant on your regen to keep you alive. So if you're starting to get hit a bit, you just play a little bit more defensive. Same thing, slot in Challenger, maximum might, 1 tenderizer to finish off the weakness exploit. You get your brace or shockproof and finish off your recovery speed and recovery up so you heal faster. And then the one that I primarily use, this one here, we have a mix. It is 2-piece Numinous, 2-piece Arc Vulcan, so we have the slight bit of regen, which covers up our red health whenever we get hit or take chip damage. And then the rest of the healing comes from just relentlessly attacking. And Switch Axe is really good because it has hyper armor on the giant burst, and then you have counter attacks and ways to not take damage. And the Lance is just really good at avoiding taking damage in general because of its giant shield. Then we got Rocksteady Mantle. This thing is so absurd. You throw Rocksteady Mantle on with the Switch Axe, and then you just start throwing out burst after burst after burst after burst. The damage mitigation you have from wearing that, plus the regen and the healing you'll get from throwing out attacks, as long as Rocksteady is up, you're basically immortal. It's ridiculously fun to play. Fight 2 monsters at once, 3 monsters at once, and just watch how fast 1 or 2 of them go down. But anyway, hope you enjoy those builds. I had fun kind of peeking through and trying to change up, getting away from those Artian lances, Artian, whatever. I think it's Artian. But also, since we have Arch-Tempered Ray Dow coming up, I'm assuming that either this lance is going to get an upgrade or we're going to have a new variant version of it. And since this thing's already got pretty dang good stats, we will hope that there's an upgrade for it. But hope you enjoyed it. Try them out. And even feel free to check out other weapons for other builds. There might be some hidden gems in there for you. Take care, and we will see you in the next video.